Hey folks, Kevin here and Thea.
Hi you guys, good to see ya.
So today what we're going to do is talk about our experiences with the Model Y, the Tesla Model Y. Today's November 29th, 2020, and we purchased the Model Y on, we received it, it was delivered on September 30th. And one of the things I wanted to do was to share some of our experiences with the Model Y, with the Tesla vehicle, because for full disclosure purposes, one of the main part of our financial portfolio is invested in Tesla. So that's out there in front. So you know that we have a bias because we're heavily invested in Tesla as a company. And there were several reasons why I wanted to purchase a Tesla. And now we had ordered a Cybertruck, and that'll be the vehicle that I predominantly drive, even though I don't drive off the property all that often. And we'll cover that in another video in the future. But the Model Y was purchased for Thea to be able to commute back and forth to work and to do all the things that she does do. And so I thought I'd start off by saying what were the main features that I needed to have when purchasing the Model Y. The first thing is safety. Safety is absolutely number one. Security, so safety, security, the investability, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Durability or resilience is another reason as well, and functionality, how well it would function in our environment and function with our needs and Thea's needs that she uses the vehicle for all the time. So what were the reasons that you wanted to get the Model Y?
Because it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yes, but for other reasons. I think the first thing is safety for me.
Yeah.
Because I drive back and forth. We live in Oswego, New York, as you probably know, and it's the buckle of the snow belt. And I do have to commute 30 miles down to Syracuse to go to work during the weekdays. And it's very open fields across the highway there, and it blows. There's low visibility. You can't see.
Whiteouts with the snow blowing across those areas.
Yeah. And then oftentimes in the winter, of course, it gets dark early. So to compound the snow, you are driving in the nighttime. So I love the Camry and the Prius. They were really good cars, and they did pretty good in the snow. But they were getting old. God, what were they? 2008 was the Prius,
and 2009 was the
Camry.
They're both hybrids.
Yeah, both hybrids. And so they were great, but they were getting old and, little issues here and there. So to have something new and with the cameras and the radar and all that kind of, stuff that I'm sure Kevin will explain to you on the car, it's safer. Also, all the crash test is that if you did get in an accident, you're not going to get squished. It's hard to roll over on that car because the batteries, the weight is low with the battery. So there was a lot of safety, factors in there.
Crash test executing in 3, 2, 1.
So this is our crash test barrier lab. The test vehicle starts at the end of the track, about 340 feet away. We attach the vehicle to the propulsion system to the steel cable here. The two Model S performance drive units pull the test vehicle all the way down the track until it's about 3 feet away from the wall.
Well in advance of us ever producing a physical prototype, we're running thousands of crash simulations. So at the design level, we'll produce 3D models of the parts, and we'll simulate those using very complex and sophisticated mathematical models that represent the physics of a crash.
One unique passive safety feature in the Model 3 is its specially designed front passenger airbag, which helps protect the occupant in oblique crashes where they might come in contact with the interior.
Safety is a top priority, so I think that's really encouraging when you see feedback from people that have got into serious crashes, and they give you that feedback that you've saved their lives or the lives of their loved ones, is a really great feeling and shows that the work that we're doing is worthwhile.
Another big thing for me was a whole environmental thing. We always try and do good for the planet, just as an individual. And I think if we all do just a little bit, it'll help the world. So with us, it was build a passive solar house, put solar panels up, recycle everything. We're kind of very into that. And then when the hybrids came out, we said, okay, we can help by having a hybrid. And then when the full electric, we were all about that. And Kevin did a lot of research on Tesla and the company too, and found out, great stuff just alone on the company. So we really thought seriously about getting this safe car and helping the world a little bit, ourselves, just as a couple.
Right.
What else?
Yeah, I will say that we did investigate other electric vehicles along the way. I did a lot more research online, and certainly I was interested in the Nissan Leaf.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. And we actually went down to the dealership to look at it and all, but long story short, it really wouldn't have met our needs, and that was a few years ago. And I've been following all the electric vehicles, even looking at heavy equipment, utility vehicles, all sorts of things, because eventually I want to convert everything to all electric here, all renewable sources of energy utilization to decrease our carbon offput and put out, and so we've looked at other electric vehicles, but I think that the clear winner at this point in time is Tesla and the Model Y specifically. So I'll just talk a little bit about the functionality of the Model Y. One thing that was really important for me with the Model Y, with choosing the Model Y over the Model S or the X or the Model 3, the Model Y, excuse me, has so many safety features, but one of the functions that we wanted to perform well in is we live in the heart of a snow belt. So we get significant dumps of snow at one time, and I can't always get out there and get the driveway cleared. We have a 350-foot long driveway, and I can't always get that cleared, and we could get 2 foot of snow over the nighttime, and Thea's got to go to work. So an all-wheel drive dual motor vehicle, which the Model Y that we purchased is a long-range dual wheel all-wheel drive and dual motor a vehicle. We wanted that to be able to plow through the snow, and that means pushing it. Her Camry hybrid did a pretty darn good
that was
job
really good.
going up the driveway. The Prius wasn't as good because it was lower to the ground.
Well, it didn't weigh as much. It didn't seem to be able to have the, weight to push through.
Right, and they're both front-wheel drive as compared to all-wheel drive. The Model Y had besides being all-wheel drive being what we wanted, you could get that in the Model 3, but the Model Y actually has a little bit more ground clearance as well. So it sits up a little bit higher. It drives more like, it feels more like when you're sitting in it like a crossover or a small-scale SUV. And so being able to get out our driveway and be able to handle all of the conditions out there. The other thing that Elon Musk hasn't really talked about, but through a couple of hackers that have hacked into the software and look at the wiring diagrams in the Model Y, one of the things that it has is some of the smart sensors that are embedded in the vehicle. So there's ultrasound sensors, radar sensors, and multiple cameras as well. So the Model Y has the ability of actually having heaters in with those sensors. So when you live in the part of the country that we live in, snow can get built up, especially if you're plowing through a driveway or snowbanks like we have around here, or when a plow comes off the main road and goes across a side street. Sometimes there'll be 1.5 feet deep of heavy, slushy snow that you've got to drive through, and the vehicle doesn't always, some of it just gets stuck to the front of the car. And we're just in one of those extreme areas. So with the small heaters associated with the radar sensors and the cameras, those will melt away and allow those to be fully functional, because one of the biggest features about that I love about all of the Teslas is their crash worthiness. In other words, with people being able to walk out of the vehicle after getting T-boned or driving right into a telephone pole, where you don't have an internal combustion engine sitting in front of you and a big transmission and radiator and all of those components getting pushed through the firewall and entering the cabin where we sit. We lost family members not too long ago, just a couple of years ago, due to a head-on collision that killed 2 people in the car and severely injured the third person. With these head-on collisions with a vehicle like any of the Tesla vehicles, people can, even though the car looks completely crunched up. So, like Thea mentioned, it has a very low center of gravity due to what's called a skateboard design. Just like we see a skateboard that has wheels on it, that really low level where all the batteries are and this rigid structure is located, even if you get T-boned from the side of the vehicle, that rigid structure of the cabin itself, or the fuselage where you're actually sitting, that rigid structure decreases the chances of penetration into the places where the driver and passengers sit. So there's much less chance of getting injured during an impact, whether it's from the front, the side, or the rear. Also, with that low center of gravity, with the weight being so low in the vehicle, it makes a rollover much more difficult to happen. And that's really just part of the benefits of having a Tesla. The other benefit is the crash avoidance. It's bad enough if you get in a crash, you want the safest vehicle in the world, but with the lane assistance and the cruise control, that's adaptive cruise control, if it sees something, the vehicle's going to stop. It's going to monitor your blind spots. So if you're going to go ahead and turn into a lane, it's going to let you know right off the bat. So its smart sensors, with its integrated system, decreases the likelihood of you getting in an accident. Now, we only have what's called autopilot, which comes with all of the Teslas at this point in time, which is the ability to keep within the lane. Even if there aren't lane markers on the road, it'll stay within a lane, and it drives basically, I'd say, autonomously on the highway. I mean, you've been using that back and forth to work and all.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I really like it. I found that I normally drive more to the right side of the lane, because when I put it into the autopilot, I felt like I was too close to the left. But when you look at the picture and you kind of think about things, really the car has put itself in the center of the lane. So it took me a little while to get used to that was really an okay place to be, because I've been driving for 40 years more toward the left side. So that was kind of cool. But I do like, that when cars are coming up on my blind spot, I have that little picture, there on the side on the touchscreen. Even if you don't have the camera things on, you could put those on and you could actually see the real car come up. But then also, if you don't even have that on, it will show that something is coming up, just a diagram of a car. So all you have to do is just, if I'm thinking of going into the left lane, you put your blinker on, you look in your mirror, you look on the side, but then I just glance over on the touch screen to see if anybody was in my blind, spot. So all those things are really kind of cool.
It's awesome. It works. It reads the speed limit signs. It reads the stop signs. It does that. It adjusts the speed. All of those things are great. We didn't purchase. It's quite expensive. Right now it's up to $10,000 to add the full self-driving, which basically now it's almost full functioning. It's in beta right now, but if you search on YouTube FSD beta, you'll see lots of people having autopilot or full self-driving, navigating through city streets and all. It does auto summon, auto park, all of those things, and it's really Tesla's taken us into the future with the technology and the advancements and the manufacturing abilities, and I'll go over those things in another video in the future. But I wanted to talk also, I talk about safety. Security is another feature. So one of the things that Tesla has done is it has Sentry mode, so that when you leave your vehicle, or if you are involved in an accident, or you witness another accident around you, that is all recorded with all cameras showing 360 degrees all around the vehicle. So if someone happens, and you can look at Wham Bam Tesla Cam, I think is the name of it, and people will send in their Tesla Cam videos, and what it will do is show you when somebody's trying to break into your car or break into someone else's car, or like in Thea's case, so what happened at work?
Yes, I was waiting for my turn. So at work, I got into the parking lot, got in the car after work, and there was a notice that the Sentry mode clicked on because there was something too close to the car. So I said, okay, let's see what that is. I said, push button here, so I did. And there's my co-workers outside the car doing all kind of boogie dancing and everything like that, to see if I would notice, and they'd be recorded. Kevin threatened to put a video of them on there. Send it to Tesla. But it is nice to have that, because even if it's another accident and the person that you witness, it's going to record it. And many people have given that to the police, because the one person says, oh, I didn't do anything. But then in reality, there's, the video of what really happened. So it's helped other people, for that.
Oh, it's helped a lot of people be able to have any big disputes with issues over the policeman trying to decide, all right, who's at fault here? when they look at the Sentry, the multi-camera angles, they can see, oh, this person's the one who is responsible for whatever the event actually was. So safety, security, those two are really, really important aspects. The intelligence, this system, it also, the Tesla vehicles are so smart and it's so elegant. So when you get in the vehicle, it's minimalistic. There's a 15-inch landscape touch screen interface that you work with. Now you can control it by voice as well, but everything is integrated through this touch screen. Initially, it might seem like it may not be enough, and it's off center. It's not directly in front of you. But how do you feel about the 15-inch touch screen?
Oh, great now. I mean, when I first got in the car, there was multiple, like, how do I start it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's actually a manual in the car, on the touch screen and everything, so you can always look stuff up. But I like the touch screen a lot. It's like muscle memory. It's anything you do, it's different the first couple times, and then you get used to it, and then you don't even know that you're, using it. But there's still a couple things I could learn. I mean, there's also all the cool entertainment stuff, but I never use that,
Right.
Like the
Yep.
games and stuff, because I'm just in the car, driving out of the car, going in the house, that
Right.
type of thing. But it's very, very easy to use.
It's elegant. I wouldn't call it a luxury car as far as those people who are used to driving luxury cars, but it's as luxurious as I feel comfortable with. It's got vegan leather throughout the vehicle. It's very simplistic, very inviting, very intuitive. The shape and form of the vehicle, I think, is absolutely beautiful. We got the pearl white, which is the
Yep.
not inexpensive. It's one of the stock colors, and I think it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about the white being dirty, because we have a gravel driveway
Yep.
and everything. I have washed this car more than I've washed any of the other cars.
Yeah.
Just with the hose outside, because
Yep.
she's special. But it looks really good, so that's nice. Other things that I like in it is the interiors. For me, is I love the space, because I'm the one doing the grocery shopping and going to Tractor Supply and getting the bird seed and all the grain and stuff like that. So I'm always the one leaning in the other cars, down in the trunk. But this, it goes up by itself, it comes down, it's flat space. You can hit buttons on your left and it will drop the passenger rear seats down, without trying to pull buttons and doing it. And it's flat, and then there's all these cool little compartments you wouldn't even know that are there, like the two side ones. I put the bag in, and then if you lift up that the bottom one, as soon as you put the trunk up, there's a lot of space under there too, so you can fit a lot of stuff in there.
There's really so because there isn't an engine in the front of the car. There's what's called the frunk, like the front trunk, and that's a rather large compartment which you can keep. You can separate and keep different items depending on what your lifestyle is. So like police in one area, they may use the frunk, and they can, from wherever they are, and say, go get the defibrillator out of the frunk, and they can just hit it automatically, where their firearms might be in the back part of the vehicle under the trunk itself. So there's the frunk, which is up front. One of the things that's really nice that Thea mentioned is when the hatchback, when she lifts it up, you just press a button, it opens automatically. It's programmable, the height that you want to have it come up to, so that you don't bang the ceiling of a low ceiling in a garage. But it's completely flat, and it's at a good level, so you're not bending over to place things in there. And then underneath that whole trunk area, and that trunk area or hatchback area extends down by hitting a couple of buttons. You don't have to go around and hit the latches of the seats, of the rear seats, to have them fold down. You hit the buttons in the back, and those rear seats fold down without having to get around and going in the back doors, and it extends more area. Then underneath that whole flat area, there's 2 other hidden compartments. So, and they're a really good size. So Thea can get big grain bags down underneath the lower part. In the front part might be an area that you don't go to very often. It might be your, your emergency equipment for injuries or whatever it may be.
We use it for, well, because I'm always finding animals along the road and bringing cats home, etc. There's a cat folded cat carrier in there, and there's extra windshield wiper fluid, and there's extra towels and gloves and flashlights, kind of, just in case I'm stuck off the road in a snowstorm or something like that. That's kind of the emergency area. Extra paper towels and that kind of thing. And in that back one where he said you lift it up, and there's this hidden space under there where you can fit grain. I have like this huge quilted heavy duty blanket, too. So, and then I can still on top of that fit, cat food and stuff. So it's very nice that you have choices where to put things, and still when you wouldn't know you're carrying all that stuff all the time.
Yes.
But it always looks sleek and nice in there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I absolutely love about this vehicle that I didn't like about the Prius is because it's up off the ground and the seat's set up higher, it has easy entry, easy exit, so I can get in. I have a long torso, and I'm not hitting my head when I go to get in the vehicle. It's the sound system is amazing. Everything, and I'll talk about Franz, the lead designer in this vehicle, in another video. But everything about this was designed with such minimalistic, elegant thoughtfulness, and the functionality. 68 cubic feet of storage space inside of this vehicle. It's amazing when you look at it from the outside. And then it being, one of the safest vehicles that there are available in the world. Those are just amazing. The other thing I would say is it's a constant surprise. I'm going to talk about as far as investment, so I think I'll do that right now. In many videos in the past, I've talked about the 3 ways that you can look at investments. Either it's a degenerative investment, a generative investment, or a regenerative investment. So I'll use, like in the on our food forest, the trees and the berry bushes and all those things, you spend some time and energy getting things established initially, but for years and years and years, you keep getting resources from that initial investment that you make. So it's a really regenerative investment. Investing in the stock market, if you really are careful and you do good long-term investments, that can be really a great regenerative investment, compounded interest over and over again. A generative investment that's not regenerative or degenerative, a generative investment, I think about the vegetable gardens, our gardens out there. So we put in the work and we get lots and lots of produce for it. So we get often we get more than what work we're getting in it. It's becoming more and more regenerative as time comes on, as opposed to just being generative. Then there's the degenerative investments, and most automotive products, the minute you drive them off the parking lot, they've decreased in value. I believe it's around 60%. You lose either 40 to 60% of the retail value or the resale value of a vehicle within 3 years. And that's just terrible. Now, we're people that hold on to vehicles for many years. This was probably the earliest, the 2008 and 2009 vehicles that we've sold vehicles. They're still in great shape, and people have got a good lifespan out of it.
And then there's your truck, which is how old that you still have?
Yeah, it's
with duct tape and rubber bands held together. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 2003 Chevy Avalanche, and then I have the '79 Firebird Formula out back as well. So if you watch us for a while, I really try to hold on to things and take good care of them. So all the vehicles we have, we put Mobil 1 synthetic oil in them. We do the maintenance all the time on them. So, and that's one of the things is with a Tesla, you don't have to do oil changes. You don't have to do all these fluid changes and all. The only thing you've got to do for years is maybe change the cabin filter and windshield wiper fluid. It's so few things that you have to do. There are a couple of things that are changing in it, but you know, you can put hundreds of thousands of miles on these vehicles, and the cost of operating it is much less. Now, since we have the solar panels here, it really doesn't cost us anything to operate the vehicle. But you know, even if it didn't have solar panels and all, it's much cheaper to use the grid energy than it is to use gasoline and all. So it's definitely a generative investment. It's not a degenerative, because a Tesla at 3 years at 3 years old, instead of being 40 to 60% of what you pay manufacturer's suggested retail price, it's 90%. So the depreciation of a Tesla is much less than an internal combustion engine vehicle.
What about also how they keep on upgrading, you know, the
That's right.
software?
So one of the things that's so intelligent about the Teslas, which they were the groundbreakers with this, they introduced software as a service. So when we bought the Model Y on September 30th, the range was indicated at 316 miles of range. It was a long range all-wheel drive vehicle. And within a month's time, they did a software update, which gave other features as well, but it did a firmware update, and so recalibrating the efficiency of the battery systems there, and now it's 325 or 326 miles of range.
I never had a car that we bought that got better. And
that's right.
They gave us more things without cost than this people do.
The Teslas, that's one of the benefits, is it's constantly getting better and better. That's awesome. So that's really an important feature. What were some of the other things I wanted to talk about? I can't remember. So all in all, because this video is getting a little bit longer, I just wanted to share with you, our experiences thus far. I may make a video, ordering the vehicle is really, really wonderful, ordering it online. We did have some hiccups with communication going through the sale, and that was at the end of a quarter, where corporations have to file their financials at the end of every quarter, so it's that corporations want to get all those deliveries pushed out as quickly as possible. And so communications wasn't good, and I can always make a video about our challenges with that. We did bring it in. There were only a couple of small issues. One, the steering wheel wasn't completely centered when driving it, and so we didn't know if it needed an alignment. There were a couple of scratches in the glass, the whole glass roof, and this is really a beautiful feature of the vehicle, that this whole glass roof. There were a couple of scratches in that, and we got an error message when we first got the car that the front trunk said that it needed to be serviced for that. It functioned well, but it needed service. So we went ahead, we had the service done. It was an excellent service process. We had no issues with that. So the fit and finish, as far as we're concerned, and I put helmet cams on when we went over the whole car initially, it really has been an amazing vehicle. The vehicle, it far exceeds my expectations, and I had pretty high expectations. What about you?
A couple of things is, one is when you're driving it, it's a totally different experience than.
Oh my God! Woo! Holy smokes! Holy smokes! Holy smokes! Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy Isn't that insane? It's insane.
A couple of things is, one is when you're driving it, it's a totally different experience than a gasoline car. You just feel like you're part of the road instead of being vulnerable above the road. Maybe it's because everything is, the batteries there and everything. I'm sitting higher because it's like an SUV type, one, but it's also, you feel connected to it. The steering is really tight. Every turn is just perfect. It's like becomes a part of you. And I know that sounds crazy, but everybody says it once they've been in there. One thing that was a learning issue for me was that I didn't really have to use the brake. The regenerative, what is it called?
Regenerative braking. Yep.
So basically when, you're driving, and as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, the gas pedal, I guess, even though there's no gas, then it will slow down, and you could be on a hill and your foot's off of it, it stopped itself, and it's an incline, it doesn't roll backwards. It's just, you got to get kind of a little used to that.
And this is an option. You don't have to have it be and I can't remember the term that's used in the software, but you select on the main screen display whether you want it to drive like a regular vehicle, where it's like using both pedals, using the accelerator and the brakes, and you can use with the accelerator and the brakes somewhat, or you can do what we've got, is it basically does full-on regenerative braking. So what it does is it turns the wheels as it's slowing down into generators and throws more charge into the battery pack to give you more extended range and more power when you take your foot off the accelerator. It just is, you develop a habit if you grew up like we did, driving an internal combustion engine vehicle. First it was hard to get used to not using a clutch, all right? Then you had to get used to not actually taking your foot off the accelerator and then covering the brake and then slowly applying the brake. You just get used to gently letting off on the accelerator as you're approaching a light. When it's an amber or yellow traffic light and you know it's going to turn red, you just slowly let off. But within no time at all, it becomes second nature.
Oh yeah. They all said to me at work, what if you have to get in the gas engine and forget you have to put your foot on a brake?
Yeah.
But it's very, very easy, and it just takes a couple of times driving to realize that if you take your foot off the accelerator fast, you're gonna stop fast. So it's like a finesse thing, but it's wonderful. It's just, there's so many different little subtle things that just make driving a happier, better, safer experience.
It's more pleasurable. I find the autopilot as being one of those things where I can relax some. Now, I'm still paying close attention, but there's so much more ability to relax. If I want to readjust my lumbar support or change the heating or whatever, that I'm still keeping my eye on the roads, but the lane, keeping the vehicle within the lane and picking up things that are potentially coming across the lane, it does that so well. It's amazing. We'll have to see how well it does with the heaters and in the sensors that I talked about and the cameras to see, will they continue to do well. One thing that absolutely impresses me with it keeping lanes without there being lane markers is amazing. So we live in a part of the country that there's a lot of snow and slush covering the lanes. You can't see lanes. Sometimes there's ice this thick that it would totally obscure any lane markers. And but I suspect that it's probably going to handle that very well. This machine learning, autonomous integration into these vehicles have come so far. I'm just completely impressed. So I think.
So I'm glad we got it, because we were going to do the truck first, but the truck factory had to be built, and then it was going to delay on that for maybe 2 years since you first put the order in.
Yep.
So I'm really glad we went ahead and got this, and I'm glad they're going to make one that's even more economical in a couple of years, where the general public can get that. Would you say about maybe 25,000 or more?
So recently during Battery Day, Elon had talked about one of the things by about 2023, could be 2024, that because of the rights law, and I've gone over this in other videos, but the cumulative increase in production decreases the cost per unit for vehicles. So The cost is continually coming down for batteries, and certainly because of their vertical integration and their new casting techniques that they're doing nowadays, and using new metal materials that haven't been designed before in the cars. What Tesla is able to do now is continually to decrease the cost of manufacturing these vehicles, and as a result, by 2023, 2024, it looks like that there's going to be a $25,000 car that will still have autonomous driving, have all of these amazing features, but it'll be smaller and be more of an economical car. It may not have all the lumbar supports and all of the flashy things, or have 68 cubic feet of cargo space, but you know, after seeing what Tesla's been doing throughout the years, I'm a real believer that this is coming, and there'll be economical, safe, secure, and intelligent vehicles out there for the mass markets to go ahead and invest in as well.
Yeah, so it'll be safer for people, and you know, if you can imagine such a higher percentage of people driving electric and not polluting the planet, it just, with climate change and everything else, it's really a good step in the right direction. So
absolutely,
Yahoo.
That's right. All right. So with that, I think we'll end this video. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions about videos you'd like to see on the Model Y, or see Thea more often in videos, just leave them below. And well, if you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you're interested in buying a Model Y or buying any Tesla, consider using our referral code listed below in the video, below in the description below. That can give you 1,000 miles of free supercharging, and Tesla has free, we didn't talk about this, but superchargers all over the world now. And you can get that. We would get 1,000, and you get put into a raffle potentially for a Roadster or some other a Model Y. I believe that also if you order solar, and you know, I've talked about solar before, if you were to order solar from Tesla, which has the lowest cost of solar any place in the United States right now, I think it's $1.49 with the included incentives that are there per watt, which is really amazing. Or you buy their power walls, which are the battery backup systems for your home, you get $250 off for it as well. So Tesla's really worthwhile investing in. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the Tesla products, there'll be a link below to use the referral code. Thanks so much for watching, folks. We really appreciate it. I hope you folks have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.